Before we start these podcasts, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize for all the New York Islander fans coming on my site and giving us great comments in recent days. I've done a lot of podcasts on the glory years of the Islanders between 77 and 84, but I forgot to mention this guy. I think one of the most underrated and one of the most important players that the Islanders had under defense in their dynasty run. Probably the most beautiful name in hockey history because it sounds French, but actually the guy's from the States and he did his home area proud. Of course, it's got to be Dave Langevin. Now, drafted 112th overall in the 74 amateur draft, 6'2", 200 pounds, a solid stay-at-home defenseman who could score an occasional big goal. He played with Minnesota Duluth in the WCHA, and the native of St. Paul came to major prominence at Hill Murray in a Minnesota high school program in 72. He played with Minnesota Duluth for 2 years for the WCHA before the Islanders drafted him. Now, a big recognition came to him when he won 2 Minnesota State independent school titles at Hill Murray in Maplewood, Minnesota, before entering Minnesota Duluth. The school was named Hill High School until his final year. Hill High School went 28-1 during his junior year. His high school coach was Andre Beaulieu, went on to coach in the AHL with Minnesota. Now, he debuted with the Islanders all the way in 1979, wearing his famous number 26 for the Islanders of Minnesota. Won 4 straight cups with the Islanders, retired in 87. Now, his career NHL stats don't really show his full worth. He only had 12 goals in 513 regular season games with 530 minutes and penalties. Now, in the playoffs with the Islanders in Minnesota, 2 goals in 87 games. But again, he wasn't there for the points. He was there for his strong, what do you call it, number 6 defenseman. Now, made the All-Star game with the Islanders in 83, and of course lost to Edmonton in the 84 Stanley Cup Final. Now, groin pulls were a problem in his early part of his career, but eventually recovered. He was paired on defense with the great Stéphane Persson in 1980 and 82. He was with one Mike McEwen in the 81 season. Now, he did have several tough injuries, including a sprained right knee in 81 and also the bruised tailbone late in that 81-82 campaign. Of course, his biggest goal was his series-winning counter for the Islanders in Game 6 of the 82 Patrick Division Finals versus the Rangers. Now, he had injuries on and off, pulled leg muscle and a pulled groin in the 82-83 season, but he was also the Islanders team captain during the 83 campaign while Potvin was injured. Now, he missed part of the 83 season with a bad right knee and suffered the injury, and again, in a playoff contest against the Rangers in the 83 campaign. Damaged cartilage in his right knee again, injury and suffered in an Islanders game against Boston in early 84. Now, he also missed part of the 84 playoffs with a separated shoulder, an injury he suffered when he was checked by Brian Erickson during the Islanders game against Minnesota Patrick Division Final. He did re-aggravate the injury against Montreal in the semifinals. He also missed parts of the 85 season with no knee and shoulder problem. Now, he was eventually released by Minnesota in October 86, but signed with LA 3 months later. Now, he did interview with LA for the assistant coaching job after his final NHL season, but was not offered what he called the promotion. Now, he did play again with Edmonton and WHA for a little while, and New Haven of the AHL. Canada Cup 4th place with Team USA, and 4th place with Team USA in 76. Now, he's been recognized so many ways through the years. We're going to go over it. U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, inducted in 93. Minnesota Duluth Athletic Hall of Fame, inducted in 95. He was a WHA All-Star second team, 79 in Edmonton, and a WCHA All-Star second team with Minnesota Duluth in 76. Of course, he was drafted by Edmonton in the late round in 74 and decided to play with the Oilers, that team, who made the AFCO Cup final that year, by the way. Now, he was part of the regular season champion in Edmonton in 79. Now, his coaching career included time with Idaho of the WCHL, who was named head coach prior to the 98 season and held there throughout that campaign. He returned to Minnesota, became a real estate appraiser and a high school hockey coach after retirement. He was also South Suburban head coach until again, the head coach of South Suburban of the Minnesota Junior Hockey League until it folded after the 2002 campaign. He also did part-time work for the NHL Central Scouting Services after his retirement. Now, he unfortunately did not play for Team USA in '78 World Title Tournament due to injury concerns. Now, the great nickname he had was Bammer and Bam Bam for obvious reasons. He did return to St. Paul, Minnesota after retirement. Now, this is how it worked to WHA. He did not sign with the Islanders after he graduated from Minnesota. Instead, he jumped to WHA with Edmonton. And when the NHL and WHA merged in '79, the Islanders took him back in the NHL Reclaim Draft on June 9th, '79. Now, they didn't leave him unprotected for the '85 NHL waiver draft. Big mistake in my view, and he was claimed by Minnesota on October 7th, '85. Some big concerns, of course, over his injuries. Now, the playing career was quite interesting because when he played those 4 campaigns in Minnesota, he was one of the very top college prospects that went to the Worlds at Katowice in '76. Now, the strictly defensive defenseman style, and his forte, of course, was full body checking. He was instrumental in the Islanders' comeback victory in the '85 playoffs against Washington, where he drove people nuts. He was benched for the first 2 losses, but entered Game 3 with a decisive physical presence, most notably checking sniper Mark Gartner with a powerful hip check. The Islanders then went on to win 3 straight and became the only team ever to lose first 2 games of a 5-game series and go on to win. But of course, that was past the glory years of the dynasty run. Now, the expansion of Idaho Steelheads really appreciated his coaching in the '98 season. After a single season, he returned to Minnesota and became that real estate appraiser and high school hockey coach. Now, the career statistics, very, very strong with University of Minnesota Duluth, especially that last season. 45 points in 34 games, including 19 goals. Now, with Edmonton, 3 campaigns, 77, 23 points, 7 goals, 78, 28.6 goals. And of course, the title chase is 79, 27 goals in the regular season, including 6 goals, playing with Gretzky sometimes in a power play, and 1 assist in 13 in the playoff games. Now with the Islanders, 3-1-1-4-3-0-0 on goal. With Minnesota, 80 games, 8 assists. 87, he split time with LA and New Haven. Now in the WHA, 78 points, 216 games, 19 goals. NHL, 12 goals, 513 games, and 19 points in the playoffs. So for a guy who played nearly 1,000, not say 1,000 games, but over 900 games, 35 goals. Now with the U.S. in '76, he had 1 goal at the World Championships, 81, 1 assist in 6 games. So why is Dave Langevin always forgotten? Well, he's not forgotten in Minnesota, and definitely not forgotten in the Edmonton years. Now, according to published reports, when Gretzky moved over from the Racers, Langevin was one of the players that was protecting Wayne, especially the key situations. I know for a fact that Langevin was on the second power play team with Gretzky as well, the holdover. So that '79 team is unfortunately broke up because they were kind of in the wilderness for 2 years until Curry arrived. But once Curry arrived, boys, they were just flying. But Dave Langevin is the link between NCAA of the 1970s and the WHA, one of the top American defensemen in the last years of the WHA, and then the great success with so he was in Avco Cup final '79, 4 straight Stanley Cup winners in Edmonton, with the Islanders, and then the loss in Edmonton in '84. So for 6 straight years, it was 4 titles and 2 losses. Tremendous. And a money player, boys. We still remember that series-winning goal back in the day. If you're an Islanders fans, you really love Dave Langevin. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Islander podcasts over the last number of years we've done. I apologize. I was going to do Dave a couple of years ago. I completely forgot, but one of the followers on the channel mentioned Dave because he likes to lure the different players. But we miss the good, scrappy players like him, Rick Green, Rod Langway. What a tremendous player. And the pride of Minnesota Duluth. Thanks for listening. Bye.